Alright guys, welcome back to Beautiful Mind today. If you're new here, I'm Roland Attenborough. I am the leading GAN scientific and analytical researcher. But today we're talking about a different path. And this path is a journey of the boy who could. If you need inspiration, let this journey enter your life so that it gives you the energy to overcome the obstacles in your life path. This journey begins with a poor 8-year-old boy named Roland. And he was a most unusual child. He was entirely strange and different from the other boys. This boy was not the kind to be discouraged by obstacles or setbacks. And later, his positive ingenuity overcame the difficulties in his life. In the extreme southwest corner of the Lone Star district of Southwood in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, hailed a strange and unusual child. One day, a new boy moved into the neighborhood. His name was Keith. Keith's parents, while settling in, bought the family dirt bikes. Roland made friends with Keith, and over the year, they would share a great friendship, and Keith would invite Roland camping and to try his dirt bike. This dirt bike would change the course of Roland's life entirely. It was pure love at first sight, and he dreamed to have his own dirt bike. That same year, Keith's family moved back to Quebec. I asked my parents to buy me a dirt bike, and they laughed and said, "No way. Dirt bikes are dangerous and expensive. And if you want a dirt bike, you will have to work for it." Well, it was at this time that my parents realized that saying no to me was just the kind of inspiration I needed. And it was at this very time that this 8-year-old boy his journey began. But how could a poor boy of 8 years old attain his biggest dream? This boy was faced with finding a way to make $875 for a Honda 75 in 1975. A few months later, the family decided to use the garage as a Calgary Herald depot to earn more money as inflation was rampant at that time. And my parents needed a few extra bucks. I asked my mother and father to get a job as a delivery boy. But at first, I was told I was too young and needed to be 10. I was devastated. However, one day, a few months later, a boy stopped delivering his paper route, and no one was taking it on. My mother came to me and said that she has this depot with the Calgary Herald, and she needed one more paper boy to deliver this paper, as the Calgary Herald agreement stated. I jumped instantly and started that day my first paid job. I was 8.5 years old. At that time, the newspapers were delivered 7 days a week, 365 days, in rain, snow, sun, and wind. And I delivered papers every day after school for 3 years. And the day I had made $875, I quit and I bought my dream dirt bike. I was 11 years old. No one in the surrounding districts had a dirt bike at 11 years old. That's him right here. This is the happiest boy you have ever seen. Ever. We used to go hunting here all the time, and I would throw clay pigeons for my dad and the ranger, or the park warden at that time, until my arms fell off. And when I got a dirt bike, I told my father that I'm not hunting anymore. My mom and dad were forced to buy dirt bikes after that. Soon after that time, I entered my first dirt bike race. I was 13 years old. I was last place. It took me 6.5 hours to finish that race. It was really hot that day. It was 30 degrees. It was one of the toughest things I'd ever done. That race was finished with blood, sweat, and lots of tears. It was that race that taught me the strength needed to overcome further obstacles that would be in my life. Later on, I transitioned from cross-country racing to motocross, where I had many setbacks too. The year previous to winning this race in Drumheller was a different story. The year previous, on this track, which is a CMC track at that time, and had one of the most technical and difficult tracks in the Canadian tracks. The CMC tracks were banned from CMA motocross. They were very, very technical, very dangerous, big jumps. Oh yeah. Anyways, it was at this race a year previous, I crashed and I smashed my ankle, and I was told by the surgeon that I'd never walk again properly, and I'd certainly never ride dirt bikes again properly, and that I should sign in to get surgery in the next 24 hours. Anyways, I told him that I was going to think about it. I did think about it. I left. I did not let them cut me open, and I refused to allow them to tell me that I wasn't going to walk again properly. And it was true, though. For 3 months, I could not set not a little bit of weight on my foot. And 3 months later after that, I was walking. And 3 months later after that, I was running. Not super fast, but I was running. And by the end of the year and before this race started, this next year, I was running 45 minutes. And when I showed up to this race, when I sat at that hospital a year earlier, I promised myself that I would return and that I would dominate. And that is exactly and precisely what I did. So, as an 8-year-old boy, I overcame being told no, I couldn't have a dirt bike. And I worked for it, and I got it. And I started racing dirt bikes. I've done all these great things. And you can do all these great things. So take my journey and put it to your life. I'd like to hear the things that you will overcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Roland Attenborough. Peace and love to you.